Hello, good morning students. Today we know that because of this dangerous virus, we people are staying at home and there we are so safe. In order to safeguard that as well as to make you people to get into the topics, otherwise studies, we the teachers are ready to transmit our ideas through the medias. So to you people are so lucky enough, you are sitting at your home and enjoying the lessons. I hope you people are also ready to accept it. Okay. We know that in 9th standard, a new subject or a new branch of social science had been introduced by the NCERT people, economics. So you people are now in what trouble to know about what is this economics. Economics, it is a branch of study that deals with the principles related to money, business, industries and whatnot. So economics, it is a main branch through which we can get into the ideas of the economic development of India. For that, the NCERT people put the first topic as the story of the village Palampur. Actually, this village, it is a hypothetical village based on the ideas of Gilbert Einstein, who made a research on the western Uttar Pradesh state, which resembled just like Palampur, or Palampur just resembled like that part of that western state of UP. Now let us enter into the topic with the help of one mind mapping. Today we are going to discuss the topic that is from economics, lesson number 1, the story of village Palampur. I want you make people to familiarize with the topic with the help of a mind mapping through a nutshell, that to a overview. Okay, what is the basic idea of this lesson? We are going to understand about the basic concepts of production. Now I want to make you people to think it about why production is very important. You know that today morning, what are the breakfast items you people took? You might have took what idli, dosa or puri or what chapatis, and then vegetables. From where all these things are coming from? And another side, who are making that service to you, and how will you get that in the markets? For that, we are in need of the very important production of goods and services. So for that, in order to understand, I am going to discuss about Palampur, one hypothetical village, imaginary village. There are two types of activities. One is farming and another one is non-farming activities. In farming activities, we are going to discuss about what are the resources Palampur is having. Palampur, it is a beautiful village. It is having all types of facilities and it is having all natural resources. And along with that, the very interesting that variety of transport system, all facilities are there. And then next we are going to discuss about the very important part of the lesson, that is what the organization of production. How are we going to organize the production with the factors of production? Next, very interesting topic, farming in Palampur, that I will show you in different slide. And then next we are going to discuss about the need for growing more from the same land. What techniques, what magic we are going to adapt to increase the production from the land. Another side, we are in need of the development of the land, and is it feasible or not, that also we are going to discuss. And we are going to discuss about the labor and capital, and last but not the least, non-farming activities of Palampur. Now let us start the farming activities or the infrastructural facilities in Palampur. Just you could enjoy what are the infrastructure facilities the village Palampur is having. Say Palampur, it is a small village, but it is having variety of infrastructure facilities. Number 1, roads. Number 2, transport. Number 3, houses, electricity supply, schools, hospitals and markets. So that village people are so fortunate. What about the roads? Whether the roads are pakka or kacha or well-metalled roads, undoubtedly well-metalled roads or all-weathered roads connecting with villages like Raiganj and nearby towns like Shahpur. And on the road, what type of variety of transport we people are seeing? Bullock carts, tongas, bogies, motorcycles, jeeps, tractors and trucks. Another question, what are they carrying? Very interesting. They are carrying sugar cane, the main production, as well as a jaggery. That shows they are connecting with the markets also. And next, what about their houses? How many families are there? 450 families are there. 80 families, rich families. Then can you guess it out? What type of houses they are living? They are living in what? Pakka houses made out of what? Concretized, well plastered with cement. Then what about the poor people like Dalits, majority population? They are living in the outskirts of the villages in the huts made of mud and straw. So through two categories of houses we people are seeing in Palampur. Now let us go for the very important need of the people, electricity. You know that without electricity what we people are facing every day, if the power is off and our entire life is getting to be off also, we know that. So there in Palampur, how they used electricity. That they used electricity, number one, for household purposes. We know that lighting, heating and cooking. And another side, their main one, agriculture. They are using irrigation facilities with the help of pump sets and they are providing water. And very, very important, they are also running small business as well as small manufacturing industries just like Mishri Lal. And what about the schools? Whether it is only a village, then are you ready to expect that that village is having only the primary schools? No, certainly not. There are 2 primary schools and 1 high school. So no need for the students to run and there after completion of their primary school. So school facility is also there. And what about the health center? Very important, very needed one, that we are seeing that 1 government hospital and 1 private hospital. So the government hospital meant for all, but at the same time the doors are knocked by the poor people. The private hospital, the rich people, they can use that. So in such a way, Palampur, it's a beautiful village, having all types of infrastructure facilities. The second part of the lesson, organization of production. Basic 4 requirements or factors or means of production. Very interesting. Suppose if you want to make any production, then what are the basic things needed? I want to make one formula here, LLPH. What is this LLPH? One L stands for land, another one L for labor, another one what? Physical cap. Actually, generally we are calling human capital, physical capital in single one, capital. There we are dividing it into 2, physical capital and human capital. In physical capital, we are having again 2, fixed capital and working capital. I will explain one by one. Now, we know that land is very, very important natural resource. Along with land, we are in need of water, forests and minerals in order to carry out the work. So land is very, very important. Without land, we can't do the production. So it is the prime requirement, number 1 platform we are in need of. Number 2. Let us enter into labor. What about the labor? There are 2 types of labor needed. One side, the skilled labor. What is the difference between skilled and unskilled labor? The skilled labor is a person who is getting what? Education plus what? Knowledge through what? Training. Then we may call them as what? Skilled laborers. Unskilled labor, those who are noted for their manual work. So here, the labor, these 2 forces are highly needed. Regarding capital, physical, what do you mean by physical capital? What are the inputs we are in needed in order to carry out the production activities called as physical capital? In physical capital, again we are having 2, fixed capital and working capital. And what is the difference between these 2? From the name itself, you could guess it out. What do you mean fixed capital? Suppose if the capital or the money is invested for a long period of time, then that is called fixed capital. For example, tools, machines, buildings. If once constructed, then the building should be that remain for at least 40 to 50 years. So such a type of capital called as fixed capital. And what do you mean by working capital? Then and there, day by day, time to time. What are the money is spending? For example, raw materials. If there is a cotton industry, then you are buying raw cotton for that, then that is called the raw material. If you are running on sugar mill and then you are in need of what sugar cane, there you have to buy that, then that is called raw material. For that you are in need of money. And then another side, money in hand. That is the money if you want to give labor charge or maintenance charge or depreciation charge, whatever it may be, for that time to time we are using that money also coming under working capital. So this is very, very important. These three, land, labor and physical capital, we are discussing in this lesson. What about this human capital? Very, very important. Without human capital, all these three capitals turned into zero. So human capital is very, very important. With the help of their knowledge, skill, information, entrepreneurship, organization skills, and then scientific knowledge techniques, they are ready to convert all these things into what useful one. So that human capital we will discuss in the next chapter. People as a resource or human as a resource. I want to make you one quick review. There I would like to give one or two questions to you people. Are you ready to take down the questions? Okay, take down. Number one, what are the infrastructure facilities available in Palampur? Again I am repeating, what are the infrastructure facilities available in Palampur? Number two, write the uses of electricity in Palampur. Question number two, write the uses of electricity in Palampur. Number three, differentiate between fixed capital and working capital. Dear students, are you ready to enter into the next part of the lesson? We already discussed there are four means of production: land, labor, physical capital and human capital. Amongst these four, now let us discuss the first factors of production: land. That too in Palampur, what is the size of the land and then how much people are engaged in that activity. So I want to give it tips for that. See, we know that land is a fixed one. Nobody can change the size of the land. So here in Palampur, the land is fixed. Up to 1960, the people, they are giving the data that so many wasteland also brought under cultivation. Now you may be confused. What is this wasteland? The wasteland is what? The land full of rocks, pebbles and thorns, but converted into cultivable land by providing proper irrigation facilities and other inputs, thereby making the land into cultivable wasteland. So that also clubbed together in Palampur. Okay, now no chance to increase the size of the land. Then how much people are engaged in that? 75%. So majority people, they engaged in farming activities. Now what is the measurement or measuring unit of land? We know that today we are that is talking about hectares of land, but there the local unit they used what very important, that is a gunita and biga. Biga and gunita, main two units of measurement in the village areas. You note on that point. Now let us come to the next part. Very, very important. Land is fixed. Nobody can change the size of the land. But we want to increase the production. Then what jantar mantar we are going to use? And what that is what magic van we people are having in our hands to rotate and bring more production from the same piece of land. There we are having two beautiful techniques being adapted by the people of Palampur. What are the two novel techniques or two modern techniques they are using? Let us see through this clipping. Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? For that, in part 1, we are going to discuss about the very interesting technique, that is how they adapted in the western part of the state, Uttar Pradesh. Just you see, in the western part of Uttar Pradesh just resembled the village of Palampur. What technique they had adapted with the availing facilities, what wonder they did with the help of multiple cropping. See, in Palampur, all land is cultivated. No land left idle. Ideally. Idle means they kept the land empty. All the lands cultivated by the people. So how they cultivated? What technique they adapted? During the rainy season, Kharif season, the farmers grow jowar and bajra in order to feed their cattle. So they use this for the fodder for their animals. During the months between October to December, they use the land for the cultivation of potatoes. We know that potatoes are rich in carbohydrate and starch, so they cultivated the land with potatoes. Next, after that, in the winter season or rabi season, fields are sown with wheat. They cultivated wheat, the main food crop of Palampur. And after that, cultivation and harvesting, the farmers keep enough wheat for their, wheat for their family members, and what rest they are having, surplus they are having, they are ready to go and sell it in the market at Raiganj, the nearby village. So, surplus meant for business purpose, and they kept one part for their family purpose also. Another interesting fact, a part of the land is also meant for sugar cane, which is a perennial crop. We know that 1 year crop, so one part of the land they kept for sugar cane cultivation. So entire year they covered near about 2 to 3 or 4 crops in the same piece of land. Such a type of farming is called as multiple cropping. Land is same, but the land is utilized again and again with alternative crops. For example, number 1, that is jowar and bajra, number 2, that is potato, and number 3, wheat. So in such a way, they make use of that same piece of land many times. Such a type of cropping is called as multiple cropping. Because of that, they did wonders. Now we have to raise one question. How is it possible? How these 3 crops developed by the people of Palampur, there our eyebrows are getting raised up. That is a technique they got for that? Irrigation. See, out of the sugar cane, they are ready to sell it in either in raw form or converted into jaggery, and they are ready to sell it in the shop or market also. The main reason why farmers are able to grow 3 different crops in a year is due to very interesting, well-developed system of irrigation. Then what is the difference between irrigation and then rainwater? When the rainwater is directly utilized, then we may call it as natural source. But when it is provided either through canals or wells or tanks or pump sets, then that is called as irrigation. Now they developed number 1 developed a system of irrigation, pump sets, otherwise tube wells. So how is it possible? The tube wells can be operated. The tube wells can be operated only with the help of electricity. Without electricity, that is highly impossible. But already we discussed that Palampur is provided with electricity. Because of electricity, easy for the people to turn over or ready to take Persian wheels, and in that place they are ready to introduce tube wells. Now Persian wheels manually provided. So this is that is a tube well, and then how they provided, you see, and how the entire field is irrigated. Here you are having the traditional method of irrigating the land, that is through the Persian wheel. But through this, the water has to be drawn from the wells and irrigate to only small field. But with the help of pump set or tube wells, easy for the farmer to irrigate hectares and hectares of land. Thereby, they are ready to irrigate the land more than 200 hectares of land. See, here in Palampur, first some few tube wells were installed by the government at free cost. After that, the farmers, they started setting up their own private tube wells by getting loan from the banks at a lower rate of interest. So that is highly helpful to them. Thereby, they are ready to set up private tube wells also. Anyhow, government tube wells or private tube wells, now the people of Palampur are capable to irrigate the entire area. So at what is the quickest way, thereby they are possible for them to cultivate 3 crops in a year. Now let us enter into the second way. How can we increase the production from the same land with the help of another technique being adapted by the people of Palampur, that is modern farming. Now we are having the idea that what are the difference between modern farming and then multiple cropping? In multiple cropping, the same land we are cultivating 2 or 3 crops in a year in cycle. Then that is called multiple cropping. In modern farming, at one time when we are cultivating the land, there we are using all modern inputs. So when we are using modern inputs, then the production is so amazing. Just you see and enjoy that how different types of crops are being cultivated from the same land, from a different cycle of time. That is, we are calling it as multiple cropping. Just you see how different crops they cultivated. One side groundnut, another side wheat, and then rice, and then variety of crops, and they are cultivating. So through this method, they cultivating more. So the production is more. See, in the modern farming, what differences we people are seeing? We know that traditional farming, you are using wooden plowshare, but here we are having tractors, and on the other side thresher, harvester, and then a truck. So all modern methods we people are using. So inputs are modern and then new. For example, see, how can we increase the production with the what type of modern inputs we are in needed to achieve green revolution or modern farming. Before that, I would like to share my views with you people. What is this green revolution? The amazing production or the increasing production with the help of modern techniques, that is with the help of science and technology, then we may call it as green revolution, particularly food grains like wheat, rice, etc. Here, what input we are using? Very, very important. That is HYV seeds. See, instead of traditional seeds, we needed less irrigation, less chemical fertilizers, and no need of even chemical fertilizers. We can do that with the help of manure. So manure, less irrigation, traditional seeds. All of you noted down. Shall I ask you the question? What are the methods or what are the techniques we are using in traditional methods of farming? Yes, we are using what are the methods? Number 1, we are using traditional seeds. Number 2, need for only less irrigation. And number 3, very, very important, that no need of chemical fertilizers, that we can use natural manures like cow dung or farm waste or plant waste. Farmers are ready to get everything. But the green revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to the cultivation of wheat and rice using high yielding varieties of seeds. In traditional seeds, when we are using, the plants are giving us only little amount of output. But when we are using HYV seeds, then each and every plant is ready to bear or give us great amounts of grain. For example, in traditional seed, one wheat plant, that is, we are getting half kg means, but in HYV seeds plant, we will get 1.5 kg to 2 kg. So amazing, we are getting more production with the help of HYV seeds. Next important input, we are in need of HYV seeds, that is chemical fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers, they are directly soluble in the sun, so they will get also quick result out of that. That is why chemical fertilizers are very, very needed in order to make HYV seeds to be activated. We are in need of pesticide. Whenever we are using HYV seeds and chemical fertilizers, quite natural, that plant is prone to pests also. In order to eradicate that pest we have to use pesticide. So another important input here is pesticide is highly recommended. High yield should be possible only with a combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers, pesticides. That is why we are calling them as package technology. All the things should be used at a time simultaneously, then only we will get the good result. Dear students, now we discussed both the important 2 types of techniques adapted by the people of Palampur. One side we discussed about multiple cropping, another side modern farming. Thereby the people, they achieved green revolution.